From Ticker News with Aaron Young, this is Ticker Today.
Hello, thanks for joining me. Today, the world is on edge. Israel escalates its campaign against Iran after a hospital is struck. Now all eyes on President Trump, with a major decision looming on US involvement. Also, Trump lashes out at the Fed, calling Jerome Powell one of the most destructive people in government as interest rates hold firm. A fiery setback for Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship exploding during a ground test in Texas, raising fresh questions about the company's Mars ambitions. New details in the Air India crash probe, investigators focusing on a key emergency power device that may have failed during takeoff. And the global economy is in flux today. Central banks split on direction, Canada holding steady, Norway cutting rates, the Fed and ECB weighing their next moves. You are watching Ticker Today, the latest news and business moving the world. Let's get started. First today, Israel has intensified its airstrikes targeting Iranian nuclear sites following a missile attack that hit an Israeli hospital. Tensions escalated as Iran launched missile counterstrikes against Israel, with casualties reported on both sides. Israel launched a sweeping aerial campaign against Iran on Friday, calling it a preemptive strike to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Iran has denied plans to develop such weapons and retaliated by launching counterstrikes against Israel. US President Donald Trump expected to announce his decision regarding US involvement in the conflict within the next 2 weeks.
Now, regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
And Caroline Levitt says the president wants to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. She says that's what this is all about.
Let's be very clear. Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that. And it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would of course pose an existential threat, not just to Israel, but to the United States and to the entire world. And that is something that the entire world, including countries like Russia, is in agreement with, that Iran should not and cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. And that's why the president believes that, and he's believed that again, not just his political career, but frankly, his entire life.
Meanwhile, President Trump has launched a scathing attack on Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, labelling him destructive after the central bank decided to maintain interest rates. Trump argued that Powell's inaction is costing the US economy significantly and insisted rates should be lower. He reiterated his criticism on social media, expressing frustration at Powell's position and suggesting he could do a better job. He says, "Too late. Jerome Powell is costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He is truly one of the dumbest and most destructive people in government, and the Fed board is complicit." Powell, whose term runs until 2026, stated the Fed is currently in a good position to monitor the economic situation before making any policy changes. A SpaceX Starship exploded during a test in Texas, marking another big setback for Elon Musk's Mars ambitions. The explosion occurred while the craft was engaged in a routine static fire test, which involves firing its engines while held in place. SpaceX confirmed that no injuries occurred and that local residents are safe. The incident adds to a series of recent failures for the Starship program, which plays a crucial role in NASA's plans for lunar and Mars missions. Accident investigators are looking into whether the Ram air turbine on the Air India Flight 171 indicated issues with the engines or hydraulics before the crash last week. Preliminary findings suggest that the emergency power generator was operating when the plane went down, raising concerns about engine performance during takeoff. The crash resulted in the deaths of 270 people, with investigations ongoing to determine the exact cause. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has now confirmed that the investigation is still active and more information will be released in due course. President Trump has extended the deadline for TikTok's parent company ByteDance to sell the app to an American owner by an additional 90 days. The decision allows a popular video platform to continue its operations in the US while the administration works towards finalizing a sale. The White House says the extension aims to ensure American users can access TikTok securely. Despite initial security concerns that led to a ban, TikTok's user base has remained significant, with 170 million users across America. Erin Patterson's lawyer has urged the jury to dismiss the prosecution's complicated triple murder case, asserting that it lacks supporting evidence. He contends that his client, who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, provided truthful and meticulous testimony during cross-examination that lasted over a week. The trial will resume on Tuesday, when the judge will give final instructions to the jury before they deliberate on their verdict. Patterson's defence maintains that her actions following the incident were those of a panicked individual, not of a murderer. China's BYD has begun shipping large quantities of affordable electric vehicles to Brazil, raising concerns among many locals and also Labour leaders. The influx is seen as a threat to domestic car production and jobs, prompting calls for the Brazilian government to accelerate tariff increases on imported electric vehicles. While Brazil seeks to boost its nascent electric vehicle market, it faces challenges due to a lack of local production infrastructure. Officials are reviewing proposals to adjust the tariffs amid worries about an over-reliance on Chinese imports while aiming for sustainable industrial growth. To the market, central banks worldwide are facing challenges due to ongoing uncertainty around economic growth and inflation. The Bank of Canada recently held on interest rates as steady, while Norway's central bank unexpectedly cut its rates, reflecting differing approaches amid fluctuating economic conditions. The Fed Reserve and the ECB also navigating complex environments with varying expectations for future rate cuts. Investors now left speculating on potential shifts in monetary policy as central banks balance their strategies against economic pressures.